bizarre phone booth in the Mojave Desert that used to ring endlessly for no one to answer. Buckle up, because today we're counting down 10 baffling objects discovered in the most remote corners of our planet. Each one has a strange story, and trust me, by the time we reach the top spot, you'll be double-checking those empty spots on the map. Number 10, the Utah Monolith. Our first mysterious object popped onto the world's radar in 2020. Deep in the Utah desert, a gleaming, metallic monolith stood silently among the reddish canyons. It seemed like something straight out of a science fiction movie. No one knew who placed it there or why. When the news went viral, people rushed to see it firsthand. The wonder of stumbling upon that sleek, three-sided pillar in an otherwise untouched desert was truly cinematic. Adding to the enigma, the monolith vanished just as quickly as it appeared. Some claim it was a prank by an anonymous artist. Others dream it was left behind by extraterrestrial visitors. Regardless of the explanation, that tall, reflective prism captured the world's imagination. It reminded us how easily we can be awestruck by something out of place in our very own backyard. And for a brief moment, everyone felt like an explorer stumbling upon a secret that shouldn't exist. That fleeting sense of discovery is what makes the Utah Monolith such a perfect starting point on our list. Number 9, the Mojave phone booth. Picture a single phone booth in the scorching Mojave Desert, miles from any visible settlement. For years, the phone would just ring and ring. Occasionally, wandering travelers or local explorers would answer it. Stories circulated of people calling that desert phone booth at random times, hoping a stranger might pick up. The booth itself, battered by the blazing sun and desert winds, stood as a lonely sentinel of curiosity. Adding to its fame, the number of the Mojave phone booth was once posted online, so folks from around the world would dial in, hoping to make contact. But as time went by, authorities grew wary of the environmental impact from curious visitors, so the booth was removed. Even so, the legend persists, a phone in the middle of nowhere, bridging random connections among people who had nothing in common but a sense of adventure. Number 8, the Hand of the Desert. Travel to the heart of the Atacama Desert in Chile, one of the driest places on Earth, and you'll stumble upon an enormous sculpture known as La Mano del Desierto, the Hand of the Desert. Rising from the ground, it looks like a giant hand clawing its way out of the sand. At first sight, you might wonder if it's some ancient monument or an eerie artifact. In reality, it's a piece of art created by Chilean sculptor Mario Irarrázaval. Its dramatic presence in such a desolate location evokes a sense of isolation and vulnerability. Many visitors describe a strange energy around the sculpture, feeling as if they've walked right into a surreal dreamscape. That moment, where art meets barren emptiness, can feel oddly comforting, like someone else has, quite literally, left a hand out for us in the harshest conditions on Earth. Number 7, the Mystery Castle in Arizona. High on a rocky ridge in Phoenix, Arizona, stands an unconventional fortress built by a father for his daughter. This unusual construction, affectionately called the Mystery Castle, looks like a crumbling relic from another era, complete with turrets, balconies, and hidden rooms. The story goes that the father, who had been diagnosed with a terminal illness, fled to the desert to build something special for his little girl. He used found materials, old car parts, telephone poles, stones, and more. When you first lay eyes on it, you can't help but wonder how it all stays upright. But step inside, and you sense the creator's heartfelt devotion culminating in a strange yet captivating structure in the middle of a rugged desert. Tourists still trek out there to explore the labyrinth of corridors, discovering every nook and cranny filled with sentimental keepsakes. Number 6, the Magic Bus in Alaska. Made famous by the book and film Into the Wild, an abandoned bus sat along the Stampede Trail in the remote Alaskan wilderness. For many adventurers, it became a pilgrimage site, an eerie relic telling stories of survival and solitude. Painted green and rusted by the elements, it was once a refuge for travelers braving the wild. People from around the globe hiked miles of unforgiving terrain just to catch a glimpse, to scribble a note in the bus's logbook, or to feel connected to a timeless story of wanderlust. Over time, concerns about visitor safety led to its removal. Yet the bus's legend lingers on, symbolizing the thin line between nature's stark realities and our human desire for a free-spirited life. Number 5. Carhenge in Nebraska. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this tour of isolated wonders, feel free to drop a quick like. It really helps us bring you more adventurous content. Now onward. In the sweeping plains of western Nebraska stands an oddball tribute to Stonehenge, except instead of towering stones, you have vintage American cars meticulously arranged in a circle. Called Carhenge, this bizarre roadside attraction was crafted by Jim Reinders as a tongue-in-cheek homage to England's prehistoric monument. When you drive up, the sight of those stacked cars rising from the grassland can be downright surreal. Carhenge embodies that adventurous, whimsical spirit of American roadside culture. Folks can't help but grin when they first see it. It's a testament to how imagination can turn abandoned junk into a spectacle that draws travelers from across the nation, all eager to snap a photo with these steel dinosaurs of yesteryear. Number 4. The Georgia Guidestones. In a remote field in Elbert County, Georgia, a massive granite monument once stood tall with puzzling inscriptions in multiple languages. Erected in 1980, the Georgia Guidestones carried cryptic messages outlining guidelines for humanity, which sparked endless theories. Some believed they were a blueprint for rebuilding society after a global catastrophe. Others saw them as a secret society's cryptic instructions. Their exact origins remain shrouded in secrecy, commissioned by an anonymous individual known by the pseudonym R.C. Christian. The Guidestones attracted curious onlookers, conspiracy theorists, and travelers seeking cosmic meaning in the granite pillars. Although they are no longer standing, the site remains legendary, reminding us how elusive and influential a towering message in an empty field can be. Number 3. The Solheimasandur plane wreck. On a desolate black sand beach in Iceland lies the twisted remains of a U.S. Navy DC plane that crash-landed decades ago. Stripped of its wings and other components by time, it looks like a post-apocalyptic movie set. The stark contrast of the metal fuselage against the endless expanse of black sand truly feels like stepping onto another planet. It has become a photographer's dream. Despite the plane's lonely presence, countless visitors trek miles through challenging weather just to glimpse this ghostly silhouette. There's something hauntingly beautiful about how it has been abandoned to the elements, its story etched into every dent and scar. It's a testament to resilience and the power of nature, reminding us that even the mightiest machines can't outlast the isolated vastness of our planet. Number 2. Double Negative in Nevada. Tucked away on the remote edge of the Mormon Mesa in Nevada lies a colossal earthwork art piece by Michael Heiser called Double Negative. It's basically two massive trenches cut into the desert rim, aligned so that the natural cliff forms a negative space linking them. At first glance, it might look like a bizarre excavation project gone wrong. But approach it from different angles, and you realize it's a conceptual piece questioning the boundaries of art and nature. Visitors who make the journey often describe a mixture of awe and confusion. Is this just a dusty ditch? Or is it art that demands you contemplate how humans alter landscapes? It sits quietly in the desert, rarely disturbed, forcing those few explorers who do venture there to grapple with the vastness of the environment, and how something so understated can still capture the imagination. Number 1. The Buzludzha Monument in Bulgaria. Finally, we arrive at the top of our list. Perched atop a remote Bulgarian peak, the Buzludzha Monument is an enormous, UFO-like structure built during the communist era. From a distance, it looks like a giant concrete saucer resting on a snowy mountain. Inside, fading murals and broken glass hint at what used to be a grand assembly hall. Wind whips through its crumbling corridors, and the atmosphere is charged with memories of political pageantry and subsequent abandonment. Getting there requires winding mountain roads and a bit of luck to avoid the harsh weather. But once you step inside, you feel a jolt of both eerie solitude and historical reverence. It's as if time stands still in this futuristic relic of a bygone era, a silent testament to how quickly grand visions can be left to ruin when human focus shifts. If a single place could embody the phrase, mysterious object in the middle of nowhere, Buzludzha might just take the crown. From deserted deserts to icy beaches, these 10 objects prove that if you wander far enough from civilization, you never know what you'll find. Perhaps they inspire a sense of wonder, or serve as cautionary tales about isolation and impermanence. They remind us that reality can be just as bizarre and enthralling as any fictional story. Thank you so much for joining us on this whirlwind tour of uncanny treasures. If you enjoyed the journey, please hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also, ring that bell so you won't miss any future adventures. Stay curious out there, and we'll see you in the next video.